monthly candle close is here. So you got the daily, you got the monthly closing. And what does the monthly candle signify for XRP, for Bitcoin, for the entire alt market, especially for the total crypto market? This has to be looked in detail. And if you do think about how the money flow is going to impact into the alt market, one of the biggest questions you should be asking is about the most important thing: dominance. It just closed the monthly for this cycle at its all-time highs. Now, when you go on a weekly, you do have negative divergence, but the moment you step out and enter into the monthly, you do not. That's one. And two, it is in an overbought region, which is scary. I mean, usually that kind of blow through. So I'm like, okay, what the hell is going to happen in the market so that the Bitcoin dominance can blow past 65, 66, 67? And then how will most of the alts react? Because you have a lot of altcoins showing you negative divergence. Maybe they're going to drop hard. There's going to be some kind of news. Maybe they won't do well when Bitcoin is going back up to 100, 105,000. Some, which has the bullish divergence, is going to go up. How will that play out? Let's look at it. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. When you do go through these charts and understand what the market is suggesting, that's a lot to digest. But let's actually look at it on a simple perspective. This is the daily close. We'll go to the daily, then we'll step to the 3-day, and that way to the monthly. Now, before we dial into it, smash the like button if you haven't done that yet. Now, on a daily, it does suggest like, okay, I can try to push higher because I'm making a continuation candle. Now, what does that mean? One candle to the upside, then takes two candles to the downside, but they failed to breach this bottom. Yeah. So that means this bottom is the current support and you're trying to push back higher. Fine. Now, the question is, does the 3-day agree with the daily? Or the 3-day does look like it agrees a lot. You had two DOGE, which was like indecision candle, but then now you're trying to push back higher. The moment you break above 96, the confirmation will be in that you're going towards 105. That's a good region for alt market when Bitcoin does that. Now, how does the weekly look like? Weekly is saying there's nothing bad in here. I'm just starting this week. The way it's looking like is like, whoa, you have to think. It's just 3 days more, but the momentum is showing I'm pushing. And that is exactly where the monthly comes into the picture. The monthly chart gives you that narrative. Did I say 3 months? Yes, we did, right? Now watch the first monthly candle going into green. Now, yes, that's an entire month in front of us to see how the candle closes. But usually when you get to see this, that's something to watch out for. So Bitcoin does show you all of this is happening. Fine. Now let's pick XRP on the same structure. The monthly, it's starting to turn green, but you just saw what it looked like for Bitcoin compared to XRP. Now, pick up Ether. It's still red on a monthly. Yeah. This is where you're like, okay, fine. How is this possible? You're going through a lot of different assets and all of them are showing you red on the monthly momentum close. Now, you step into the weekly and you're like, okay, that's slowly trying to change. This is slowly shifting. That is what we call the bottom formation. You won't be able to see those on a monthly unless the first monthly candle goes up. But by that time, your opportunity zone is close to zero. Now, this is where I am taking you into XRP, saying it closed the red, but when you do pull into the weekly, it's showing you I'm bouncing off from the moving average. That is a good story to watch through. Now, where can the price action actually go and hit that region? This is something you need to keep in mind. We'll put that onto Japanese candlesticks, and we need to know where the resistance is. Now, to get the maximum accuracy, you actually have to go onto a line chart and then plot this. Now, what does a line chart convey? XRP price can still go back up, 2.7, 2.8. That's still a bigger possibility. Great. Now, what about the total alt market? Now, this is something you need to keep in your mind, and especially during these kind of bottom formations and a bounce off, watch different assets. Because the weekly suggests I'm already in with my bottom. Maybe I'll retest, but I'm going to do something like this. What does that signify? Because you have a bull flag formation here coming up. Will be close enough to the stop so that we are not missing it out. Okay, we don't have a breakout yet. That signifies that when that breakout comes, if you do get volume, it's going to be a lot of different coins popping. That is why I say keep your eyes on the family, keep your eyes on the charts we are posting. Those who took profits at the top, they doubled their units by buying back at the bottom. Yeah, so when you understand those certainty in the market in this uncertain times, then okay, that becomes a lot more important, because when you are looking at these, you're like, fine, I'm waiting for these breakouts, and as soon as you get the breakout, you know that's a reaccumulation, boom, it goes up. So if alt market is about to do that, maybe it's about to come back up to retest the local high or even put in a new local high. Because last time the market reversed, it went up like this, put in a fake out, and then came back down. Are we going to repeat that? This is something which we will have to follow through and understand. Now, pick the total crypto market. Same, right? I mean, the way the market is looking like, it is suggesting I'm going back up. This is what we talked when we were at the bottom. Why? Because that bottom region was valid through all these times. So the entire bull market, that trend line, the support on the RSI, that worked pretty well. So if you go back up, if you push back higher at $4.45 trillion, it's going to be amazing. Now let's see whether we are only going close to 4 trillion and getting rejected, or we are going past 4. That will decide how some of these altcoins are going to burst big. Yeah. Now come back into the highly correlated assets. So this is XLM in front of you. Now you're picking up XLM. You're looking at these dojis. It's like, okay, one big candle to the upside. A lot of these small candles retesting the moving average, forming a hammer. Usually that's a good sign. That shows you can go back up to retest these highs. Yeah. So now the question is, what's your upside in the asset which you want to bet big versus what's the upside on the asset where you are spread too thin? Now, if the risk is too high, you don't want to go heavy in there. If the risk is comparatively similar, then you may look at it. Yeah, that's a realistic approach which you should be taking. Now, pick back the Bitcoin horizon here, because when Bitcoin plays these out on a daily, it kind of gives you the idea. It was slowing down, but all of a sudden it's starting to give it another try to break past 96,000. And if it does, it is going to create what we just talked about for last few weeks. This kind of a move is going to be something great for the altcoins, especially when you are reaching to retest this region, because yeah, we don't know whether we are going to break higher or not, but if we don't, we can come back down and it can be painful. Trouble is, not a lot of people agreed when we called for 73 to 74,000 when the price was still up to 84. They were arguing, no, it doesn't have to come back down to a price. Now we see, oh, it just hit below that. So that's why I say the price structure is important, but the RSI and MACD combined with the moving average is way more important. So giving that idea in a lot of these crypto assets inside your portfolio is what we do in the SR family. So if you want to jump in, use the link, jump in, make sure you ride the next 60 to 80 days and get that advantage over the market. So if you received value, smash that like button. I'll meet you guys in the next video. Bye for now.